Ready, go. Staying alive, Dan Grider, Probable Cause. It's April 30, 2023. Probable Cause, glad to have you with us tonight in the live chat room. This is one of the videos I do every Sunday night to talk about the accidents that have happened basically in the last 7 days. In this case, it's going to be the accidents that have happened in the month of April. April is closing out as of midnight tonight. We're closing out April. So far on the list, I have a total of 12 general aviation fatal accidents that we're going to put on the list and show you here in a second and talk about those. But we're going to talk about a couple other things first. The general aviation fatal accidents and the most recent ones are going to be included in this. We'll try to get this video done very quickly so we don't waste a lot of your time. Before I do that, I want to talk about some concept information. I had to do a trip to Boise, Idaho this week. I went out there and picked up an airplane. While I was there, I stopped in at Nate's restaurant. Nate is a pilot and a great guy. I had met his parents because his parents came in and flew the DC-3, and by a strange twist of fate, we got to talking about Nampa, Idaho, where Nate's restaurant is. Nate has a restaurant on the field at Nampa called the Tower Grill. Super cool. So I stopped in there and visited. A whole bunch of YouTube people came out to shake hands and say hi, and I totally enjoyed meeting each one of those. Here's what happened at lunch. I was approached by a couple, a mom and a dad, who wanted to say hi. We started talking about accidents and things like that. They let me know right away that they were the parents of Terry Richards. Terry was 43 years old. Terry is the guy that died in the Cirrus SR-22, and I thought for sure when they told me who they were and how far they had driven to talk to me, I thought for sure this is going to be a complaint about talking about their son so soon after the accident. Absolutely the opposite. They thanked me for the report. They wanted to know how I got my information so fast and so accurate. I was able to provide some closure to the family to explain pretty much what happened on that. As you know, this is an SR-22. The chute did come out. The chute came down a long ways away from the airplane. Terry Richards did pull the chute, but it was after he had already got the airplane totally out of control. He oversped the chute. Remember, you SR-22 people, the chute is only good if you are in a reasonable condition. That chute is made out of nylon and strings. You can overspeed that chute and it will blow up, and it will not save your life if you wait until you're going that fast. The problem, Terry's mom told me what the problem is. The problem is that Terry was a very successful businessman. He bought that airplane. Nobody could tell Terry no. He got a very quick pilot's license. I think he did his entire private pilot's license in less than 14 days. He had very low total time, and he went out and flew that airplane. Everybody told Terry not to fly that day. The conditions that day were not good. It was overcast. There was icing in the clouds. Terry either encountered icing or IMC or maybe a combination thereof, but in any case, he got the airplane totally going too fast, totally out of control. Whether or not the airplane came apart in flight, I don't know that yet. But Terry, aeronautical decision making, Terry could not be told no, even though everybody told Terry not to go. And the interesting thing is that Terry often commented, according to his parents, often commented that he felt extra secure even in marginal situations because he had the chute. And I think that's a backwards way of thinking about this. Don't go fly the trip because you have a chute. Pretend like you don't even have that chute. That chute ought to be absolute last course when all else fails. Don't plan your trip taking marginal trips because you have a parachute, which is what Terry did. A devastation for the entire family out there, a totally senseless, fatal. There's two people on board. Terry and his nephew were both on board. I met the parents. They thanked me. Here's a picture of them. A very sweet couple, and they thanked me for the information. It had nothing to do with an engine failure or any of the above. Terry should not have been flying. He should not have been out there. He should not have been doing these trips at that low of experience level. Nobody should have sold him a Cirrus in the first place. Nobody should have insured him. I don't even know if he had insurance. The whole thing is just crazy, and we've got to stop doing stuff like that. Take the time to talk to your hangar mate and the guy next door to you and the other people that you see. Keep an eye on what's going on out there. It doesn't hurt to say, hey, that doesn't sound like a good idea to me. You might ought to take somebody with you. You might ought to slow down and be a little bit more careful. Take a little bit better effort to stay alive. Here's another one, the Cessna 150. Here's the airplane right here. This airplane made an engine off, power off 180 back into PDK last week. I went and interviewed the guy. It's going to be a fantastic interview. The interview's already done. It's coming up, and I want to tell you about that. This is Robert's. Engine failure at 400 feet and power off 180 to the opposite direction, and he made it So I was able to interview him. That's coming up. We just got back from Dixon, Tennessee. We were up there with the DC-3. Took a bunch of people with us. Here's a quick scene. I got to fly with my son, Drew, who's also a DC-3 pilot. Here's Drew and a visitor in the right seat during cruise. Drew allowed somebody else to come up and occupy the right seat for just a few minutes. Here's a video clip just for interesting, just so you can show what it looks like. Here's Drew flying the DC-3 with a visitor. His name was Mike, and he sure enjoyed his few minutes of sitting in the right seat.
You just focus on that. You don't have to be right on it if you're just following it, you know. So, there's about this heading. Should be good. 30 minutes to go.
There you go. Drew, tell us what's going on here. I got video and audio going here. Where are we and what are you guys doing?
Oh, we're about 30 minutes to the southeast of Dixon, 6,500 feet. Buzzing along.
And you got a visitor in the co-pilot seat?
We do. Trying to fly. Yeah.
There you go. Mike's flying the airplane, and Drew's typed and qualified in the airplane, so we're legal to let Mike fly the airplane for a few minutes. How's he doing?
Doing good. Nothing's flamed out yet, so.
So what are we doing for speed and altitude here, Drew?
Our 6,500, we're about 130 on the airspeed, so everything looks good, synced up in the green.
All right, and coming into Dixon, Tennessee, going to be touching down in about 20 minutes, looks like.
Yeah, 20, 30 minutes should be coming in.
Should we talk about Dylan while he can't defend himself?
Oh, there's a lot of stuff we can talk about Dylan.
Yeah, he's
subpar poker skills.
He's kind of marginal.
Very poor poker player.
There's a view out the window.
Smooth flight. Oh yeah. Nice day out.
There you go. All right, pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Everything in Dixon, Tennessee went perfectly good. The airplane ran good. We went up there, had about 75 people come out to see the DC-3, go through it, and we drew names. I took about 75 or 80 names on a piece of paper, put them all in a hat, and we drew, and we went and flew. I took 9 people that I'd never met before. We went and made a lap in the DC-3. I think all 9 totally enjoyed it, had a great time, and everything worked really good. We gave those, but it did not cost them anything. We didn't have anything to sell. We just gave them a ride in the DC-3, and lots of people were there to take pictures and video. Here's a group picture of all of this when we got done. Then we went downtown and played music. Toby and I and the band Nashville Stray Grass is us, even though, well, we're not really a band, but Nashville Stray Grass played Saturday night. We had a great time. We stayed out late. We did the whole deal. And then we went and slept in the DC-3. There's 3 of us that didn't go to a hotel. There's 3 of us that slept in the DC-3, Oreo cookie style, and it was a lot of fun. We had a little bit of rain move through in the middle of the night, so they say. I don't really remember that. But everything worked good in Dixon. My best appreciation to the Dixon Airport. Mike, the airport manager, served, I don't know how many hamburgers, probably over 100 free hamburger lunches to visitors. A lot of people flew in. A lot of people came out to see the DC-3. They sold gas for $5 a gallon. Everything worked perfect. And that's how come I'm so tired, because we had quite the weekend. And I just got back from Dixon, Tennessee. That's how come I'm trying to record this video right now. Let's go on and talk about the very next topic. So here's the cheat sheet for April 2023. If you want to be on it, you still got a few hours left. Tell me where you're checking in from in the chat here tonight live, if you can, where you're checking in from. It's always interesting to see. Here's April's date. I'm going to go ahead and read them to you here. The very first one was November 231 Sierra Hotel. Remember, that's that helicopter in Alabama that hit the power lines. Mark Gann, age 63, ran right into the power lines, and 2 people dead on that. The SR-22 we've already talked about, 424 Sierra Whiskey, oversped the chute. The PA-32-300, this is the Venice scenario. Jeff Lumpkin, a total of 4 people on board this airplane, took off at Venice and immediately was over water, IMC, and could not see, and flew it right into the water. Same exact place, impact into the water that the previous Cherokee 180 did just a few months previous to that. November 911 Tango Kilos, another SR-22. This is the guy, Howard Waston, age 61, from Georgia, who ended up spinning this airplane. He let the airplane get too slow. It was definitely low weather, and he was maneuvering, but he definitely stalled and spun. This airplane hit vertical just short of the runway. 44588, PA-32-260. This was a crazy one. This one was way too slow on final. The report came out on this. He was so slow on final, he ended up short of the runway, but did make it onto the runway. It hit hard, it bounced, and then he attempted to do a go-round. So he's guilty of two things: flight below minimum maneuvering and a messed up go-round, both at the same time. When he cobbed the power to it, the nose came up, and then it stalled, then it rolled left, and then it hit. So he was too slow in the first place. That caused his huge bounce and horrible landing. When it bounced it in the air, he jammed the power forward, and he was not ready for a go-around. I want you to fly around with enough speed to not do that in the first place, but if you have to go around, be able to do a go-around. When you push that power in and you're trimmed for landing, the nose is going to come up. You have to push about 50 pounds on that yoke to keep the nose from coming up. It's going to want to rear up like a horse. Messed up go-around is still a huge problem out there today. Here's the next one. This is the RV-12, November 543 Golf Mike in North Carolina. Curtis Williams. This thing's on a test flight. The other guy is still alive. This thing did make a couple laps around, but it did have a sick engine. They definitely tried to make it back to the airport. This is a stall spin. It impacted just off the highway into that bridge embankment there just to the side of it, and this thing is not good. It caught fire. One barely made it out. The other one was dead at the scene. Horrible accident right there. Let's take a look at the next one. Is November 8488. That's the Glass Star out in Nevada. Glenn McKenna and his wife. Glenn was 72 years old. He had a loss of thrust on takeoff, and however he did it, he lost speed. He pulled the nose up, but in any case, that airplane stalled and spun. November 5545 is the junior ace in Arkansas. That's a suicide. We've already talked about that. I'm not going to put a name or a picture on that. A very tough time for that entire family out there, but there's really nothing else to talk about on that one. A very tough situation for that entire family. This was definitely a suicide. The next one, 2357, is the Velocity, North Carolina. This is a failed rejected takeoff. This airplane was a sick engine going down the runway. Did not get RPM, struggled into the air, and it on the left crosswind turn, this stalled and spun. Yes, you can still stall and spin to velocity. He did not have enough altitude. He didn't have enough power. This thing was not making power, and the velocity will stall, as this guy proved, and that's it. There's no way to survive this thing. The next one is the 172, November 734 Golf Bravo. That's the one we've already talked about. Again, a DMMS on short final. Let it get too slow. Malik Nassim, age 60. 2 people on board, they're both dead. The next one, 123 Delta Sierra. That's the 177, the Cardinal in Georgia. Very sweet couple from Michigan. Very experienced on the way back. Somehow they ended up IMC. They ended up in the clouds. They oversped this airplane. They oversped this airplane somehow and took this airplane apart in flight. And I know that because the sheriff put out a bulletin asking all residents in the entire area to go outside and start looking for airplane pieces in their yard. The sheriff doesn't put out that kind of a bulletin to go out looking for airplane pieces unless they know that the whole thing came apart in flight. I don't know how they did that, but they sure did. I was flying that same day at the same time. It was IFR out there. It wasn't super low IFR, but the clouds and rain in various parts of the states could have been anywhere from 1,000 overcast all the way up to 6,000 overcast or something like that. I don't know for sure. All I know is that they took that airplane apart in flight, and once that happens, there's no fixing that. Let's take a look at the last one here. That's the Cessna 172 in California, November 575, November Delta. 1 on board. I don't have a name yet. Definitely flying in fog. I think he flew it into the train. I don't have very much information on that as of yet. I got these expert videos. I'd like to invite you to become an expert via Zoom call. Take a look at expert videos number 1, 2, and 3. This is talking about AQP for general aviation. If you're an expert and you endorse the concept or the philosophy of AQP for general aviation, I sure would like to talk to you talk through it. I'm trying to get more people to come on board to be able to openly say AQP concepts, whatever you want to call it, is good. I want you to take a look especially at the most recent one, AQP Expert number 003, David St. George. I'm very happy with that, and David and I talked very eloquently through that entire situation. I'm very happy with all that. I got to get out of here. Dylan is back, and he's not able to join me in the studio here yet this evening because of his social commitments, but we will get back to guitar playing and add some guitar and banjo music eventually. For the time being, I am slap wore out for my weekend trip, and I got to get this video edited and up and on the air. I appreciate you paying attention. Don't end up on my sheet. Whatever you got to do what you got to do to stay alive out there. I want you to stay alive. Don't end up on this sheet, because I will for sure put your picture and your name on here. You do one of these 20 AQP maneuvers and kill yourself in an airplane. It's not good. We can prevent this. We can do a better job. Remember, prevention is no accident. Got to get out of here for my tiny little itty bitty fledgling YouTube channel, Dan Grider. Probable cause.